One of the most common questions starting CrossFit is how can I get my first pull-up? This is the answer. Introducing the Sentinel Training Strict Pull-Up Program. Gymnastic movement is a prerequisite to weightlifting in sport. Improving your gymnastic strength will increase your fitness across the board, and we can help you. For a one-time payment, you'll receive a 12-week program consisting of 3 accessory sessions per week designed to develop the upper body pulling strength requisite to performing strict pull-ups. The focus will be on 3 different themes each week: full range of motion contractions, isometric contractions, eccentric contractions. It all works the goal of a strict pull-up firmly at its core. This works. Sign up today. Thank us in 12 weeks, just like Louisa did.
You should do Sentinel training. Not you, Colten. You're kind of doing okay. Prove it. But viewers should. You can get a 14-day free trial now if you scan the QR code in the top right. If you're in Ireland or the UK, you can buy Perform protein, creatine, vitamins, as Americans call it. And you can use CPW as a discount. You can get a free trial of GoWatt as well. They got a new app of new mobility tests, and you can do sports specific. And you can buy frog grips. You use frog grips, Colten, right?
Indeed, I do.
Yeah,
Use lots of frog grips.
They are legitimately, like, I can understand why they were made illegal. Like, when you use them, you're like, wow, okay, I am not this good at pull-ups. That's coming from a distinctly average, very below average. Did you like my thumbnail?
It was me on the front of a train.
Yeah, it was you as Thomas the Tank Engine. Is Thomas the Tank Engine a thing in America?
Yeah.
If I had more time, my plan was, is he just called Thomas the Train?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think we call him Thomas the Tank Engine.
But I feel like Thomas the Tank Engine is a much better name than Thomas the Train. This is a bit literal, isn't it? It's a bit to the point.
I could be wrong.
My plan was, so there's a guy driving the train. My plan was to put that as Ali, and then to put pigs and wieners on the windows. But I was like, fuck, there's so much effort required. Initially, what I did was I uploaded I should open the tab and show it to you. I uploaded your photo to this like AI website, and I said, just give the instruction, make him a train.
Make him a train.
It showed a bad version of you, and then there was just a train beside, as if it had like whittled the train out of wood or something. And I was like, all right, I'll just do it myself. I have some DIY questions for you I want to start off with, because I was thinking about you today. You're a handy man. You do a lot of stuff around your house. I've never tiled before. Would I be able to tile a bathroom floor? There's currently linoleum on it, and then underneath that there's just like floor, like the original boards. It's not like a nice floor or anything.
Yeah, you would need to get some specific tools for cutting the tile and mixing up like the mud and the grout. And
like, how bad could I fuck it up badly, or is it like what
Yeah, you definitely, yeah. Especially if your floor is not very level and even, then definitely, yeah. I mean, it would be definitely a few $100s in tools probably. I think to cut and prep the tile before you get it on there, and then
I know you have to. I know you're supposed to remove, like, the sink and the toilet, and then you're not supposed to tile around the, what do you call it, the pedestal, or the edge. You have to you tile around the hole, not the object or whatever. Do you have to remove a bath, or do you tile to the bath, or do you remove the bath, tile the floor past where the bath would be, and then put the bath back on top?
You can just tile right up to it, and then you'll put a bead of caulk or grout down there.
Bead of what?
Position. Bead of caulk.
Okay, yeah. Fuck it, I might try it. I need to put like subfloor or something, do I?
You want your subfloor to be clean and as level as possible.
And do you have to put like mesh or something? Or I looked at a video and this guy put down like orange shit and then put adhesive beneath it and above it.
Maybe for ours, we're just on a concrete slab, so we didn't have to do that since we have subfloors and we don't have like wooden floors. But quite possibly, I'm not sure on that one.
Second question: Would I be capable of putting down a patio on top of concrete?
Yeah.
Is that difficult or easy?
Like a wood patio?
No, like slabs, like, big cement tiles or whatever, stone.
Yeah, you could do that. You just want to try and get it level, and then you're going to so you're gonna pour them, or you're gonna buy them like made.
Buy them made and then lay. It's like sand and cement mix, like more or less dry, isn't it? More or less.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah,
maybe
you
I'll
could
do
do
that first, and if I don't like mess, then the graduate from that is I could probably tile the floor.
Yeah, just want to try make sure and get them level, and then you have to put something in between them in the cracks or whatever, some kind of sand or a little rock or something like that. You'll push it in there with like a broom.
Maybe on a day when you've like, I feel like this will never happen, but when you have no training and no farm work to do, I'll just FaceTime you. I'll leave like the camera in the top corner, put in headphones, FaceTime you, and you can be like, no, don't do that.
Need to have someone put on an event over in Ireland, and I'll come out.
Yeah. Why would you put cement slabs over cement patio? So we just have like outside this door, there's just concrete, and there's two different colors of concrete because one, it's been here since we got the house. One was obviously the initial, like, footpath or whatever path to get around the side of the house, and then the other one was obviously added afterwards. So they're two completely different colors. And we sit out there. That's where the sun is. So we have like the couch and the outdoor furniture is there. But when you're sitting there, it's just so like you're just looking around and be like, oh, this is so unaesthetically pleasing. So yeah, I think, fuck it, I might do that. I might try. Anyway, now that we've got that covered, CrossFit Games, man. How sick is that?
Yeah, that's all right. Not a bad weekend. My brother got married and got qualified for the CrossFit Games.
When did your brother get married?
Thursday, maybe.
Did you go?
No.
What did you just like send him a text? Good job.
I called him in the morning. Yeah, I talked to him yesterday.
What age is your brother?
He will be 25 this year. I think he's 24 right now.
Is that a high school sweetheart thing?
No, they met after he graduated high school. They've been together for a few years now, probably.
Okay. So was there any part of you that was, I was going to say pressured, inspired to propose to Ali off the back of his impending wedding?
No, no. I just kind of do my own thing. I don't feel too much pressure for, especially social things like that. I just I go at my own pace and do it when I think the timing is right. But it's kind of like, I don't know, for me, like I understand the ceremony and the importance behind like an engagement and a wedding, but for me, like nothing really changes for our relationship. But taxes will change once we get married. But other than that, it's like,
you're down a few grand, but apart from that,
I'm not gonna all of a sudden be a better or different partner just because we get married or whatever.
Was your brother like perturbed that you didn't go to his wedding, or does he understand? Was he just like, yeah, that's cool, like I understand the goal is the goal, or was he like, just go to Syndicate? Why does it have to be mayhem?
No, originally they were gonna get married around here, and they told us the date like a while ago, and I was like, oh, that'd probably be like around quarterfinals. And then they made the changes to the season, and then they announced that Mayhem was that weekend, and right away I was kind of like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna go, because I'm gonna try and go to Mayhem. But then Mayhem was like, oh, we're invite only. I'm like, oh, I'm not getting an invite. And I was like, oh, I am getting an invite. So, but they're originally just gonna do a small wedding here at home, but they ended up just eloping instead. They went to Florida for the weekend.
Why do you think you wouldn't get an invite to Mayhem?
Because it was top 20, and they were going just purely based off the Rogue ranking systems. I think I'm like 30th or something like that. And I figured like everybody's gonna accept their invite to Mayhem. But I remember listening to their podcast one day, and they're like, yeah, we're up to like whatever number on the rankings. and they have until this Saturday to accept. And I was like, oh shit, I'm like right after that. So if a few people decline, I'll probably get an invite. And I ended up getting the invite a couple days later after that. And then I think eventually they kept going down the rankings, and people kept declining. And so like, okay, we just need, at this point, anybody who will say yes, we need to get them in.
I think I got an invite, but it was in my junk, so I didn't get a reply. And what does the invite, when you get an invite to, is it just like an email, like a competition corner invite, or is it a text, or what do you get?
They sent me a DM, and they're basically just asking like, hey, would you be interested in an invite? And I said, yep. And then they sent me an email, maybe it's later that day or the next couple of days, with a link to register. And there's no registration fee or anything, and we got signed up right away.
That's someone who's been burned. When they, like, Mayhem shouldn't be DMing someone saying, is it okay if we send you an invite via email? Like, that's someone who's gotten some no's, some cancellation, or like, I'm not sending another email to I'm just gonna ask first in a DM. If he says yes, then I'll send the email. I'm not wasting my time. I've been hurt too many times. I've been burned. It's like when, you know, it's like asking a girl out and being like, it's cool if you don't want to. Like, don't sweat it. It's fine. It's totally fine. I'll just go outside and fuck myself. Don't worry about it. I was stupid to ask. I'm sorry. Okay, that's cool. So when you got the invite, was there, I think I know the answer. I mean, everybody knows the answer to this, I guess, but I want to hear from you. Were you like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna punch my ticket? Or were you like, well, that's gonna be a pretty stacked field, and you know, the workouts on paper historically won't suit me? Like, was there any kind of reservation, even though you agreed to sign up, of thinking like, it's probably not going to happen here? Or did you feel it was going to happen from the start?
Yeah, I knew, even before they sent the invite, once I started to kind of piece together that I was probably going to get the invitation, talked to Joey, and we decided right away we were going to go and we were going to try and win. We knew there was going to be a pretty stacked field. I think, you know, we can look once the semifinal season's wrapped up, but it's a good chance that field might have the most games qualifiers out of it once it's all said and done. We'll see how things shake out. But I mean, it's good. It's a good field. It's early on in the season, so it's kind of like athletes might be thinking, you know, do I want to go and have to run through the gauntlet and risk maybe trying to peak really early right now and get my spot, and maybe it doesn't work out, then shit, I just have to go do another 2 or 3 possible events to try and get in. So it's a little bit of a risk reward, but we're really confident in my fitness and how far along we've come with my weaknesses. Joey's done just an unbelievable job.
Yeah, what have you changed? Like, what, because if you look at yourself from, I don't know, like June last year to now, you are completely different than you've been for the, say, 36 months prior to that. Like, you were always good. You were always on the cusp, on the verge. And it's funny, especially this year, watching you go from being one of the last athletes in every time you went to the games was like by a point in you, or 2 points or whatever. And you were as always the 6th or the 5th or whatever, like the last athlete to be announced, to be in at the first semi-final. And when they're only taking 2, and when it's only 5 events, and when it's a stacked field, like, I feel like you have to have made drastic changes.
Yeah, so I've always been good at working on my weaknesses and being disciplined enough to train the things I don't want to do. And I've kind of made the commitment, like I don't care what I had to do in training. I don't care if I'm, you know, I want to puke every time I look at a rower because I'm on there every day. Like, I'll do what I have to do. But once I started working with Joey in January of 2024, he just does a great job of putting together progressions for me and laying out a plan to get better. And it's been really, really nice for me to just pull up the app on my phone, write it on my whiteboard, and then perform it. And it's a good confidence boost because I never had trained in a camp or with any other high-level individual athletes. So I didn't know, like, am I doing too much volume? How intense should I be training? But then once I got with Joey and proven, it also gave me confidence, like, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I just need to perform it at the high intensity as possible. And I need to make sure that I'm recovering as well as I can so I can do it again the next day and the next day and the next week. and that's where Target Nutrition, Amy Farmer come into play. Recovering better than ever between days, and then also at events, Amy has it all laid out for me, what I need to eat, when I need to eat it, and that helps me recover between events as good as anybody. Probably is, you notice this now I notice it because now I know what it's like to have like a coach in person with you. A lot of people have programmers, but Joey's also a coach. So he's there with me and Caroline, and he's taking us through like all the mental aspects of how to prepare for these workouts, how to attack them, and taking us through our warm-ups when we need to get started, but we need to get to the arena, take care of, everything like that. So, some other people there, it seems like they're more just programmers, and then they're kind of a cheerleader for their athlete for that weekend. But Joey does, he's he's the freaking man.
So he just takes basically between him. Sorry, what was the name of the Target Nutrition? What's her name?
Amy Farmer.
Amy. So between Joey and Amy, and then I guess Ali as well. Basically, like everything is taken off your plate. So all you have to do is just eat whatever's put in front of you, do whatever's on the app or on the whiteboard or whatever, and then perform when the whatever blinkers are taken off, or when the when you're let loose, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, competition, we get it pretty dialed in. I got to the Mayhem Classic on Tuesday, and Ali didn't come up until Friday, so I had a few days alone, which is kind of nice, just to I guess to mentally just prepare and unwind and just relax and sorry,
You're reading the comments.
Yeah. I do a lot of self-reflecting and internal dialogue, and sometimes I need to just be alone and be able to decompress and just not have anybody else to talk to me. So I had several hours each day where, I got my pre-comp training done, proven, and I go back to the hotel, get my groceries and my food and everything ready, and then I can just kind of decompress and work things out in my mind. And I think that was a good thing for me this weekend.
So you said you have a lot of internal dialogue.
Mm.
So like because you're very quiet, like externally. So
Yeah.
I just kind of assumed you were the same internally. I just kind of assumed it was just like silence all the time, and then sometimes you'd be like, "That guy's a dick" in your head, and then other times you'd say it out loud. What kind of stuff has that changed? Like, has your internal dialogue changed, say from semi-finals last year to Mayhem? Like, has the way that you talk to yourself, or the way, like, say, pre-workout or even during a workout, has that changed?
Yeah, absolutely. There's always a lot of chatter going on. I think like high school and wrestling, I've always been a little bit of an overthinker, but I've tried really hard to learn how to kind of undo that, or undo it at certain times and deal with that, because there's a lot of negatives that come to it. Like I would get super, super nervous before tournaments or meets in high school for wrestling, and it just really wears on you. So like I really got into reading books, especially like my senior year of high school, because I'm like, if I'm reading a book and I'm not thinking about cutting weight, not thinking about being thirsty, not thinking about the match I have this week. So it's like, if I could just kind of get into a book for 30, 45 minutes or whatever, and just kind of not worry about anything, that was helpful. But, now I think I've gotten better at not letting my thoughts kind of get away from me, or the self-doubt kind of wear me out, because, there's times like I get to the games in 21 and I'm exhausted before the competition even started, because I've been overthinking and overstressing about everything in my head for weeks in advance. But, there's still a lot of internal chatter now, but it's, I'm better at handling it, and I think I'm better at compartmentalizing. So like while I'm there, like I did a lot of tax prep and like investment analysis while I was at Cookville in my hotel. So I'm just thinking about other stuff that wasn't the competition going on this weekend.
Okay, that's interesting. Were you doing the same, like when you go back? So say what day? Saturday night. I mean, you probably weren't. I mean, you've probably been more beat up from training days than you were from Saturdays. Like 2 events wasn't like huge compared to the games or even other semifinals that you've done. So when you went back to your hotel, was it easy to decompress? Like, were you as tired as you usually would be after that, or did it take you a bit to wind down?
So when I first got back, I kind of did like a calm day, like decompress, where I thought about the events for a little bit, and then kind of mentally prep for the events we knew we had the following day.
Internally or externally? Like, do you say that to Joey or Ali, or do you just keep it to yourself?
We talked about it to Joey for a little bit while we're still at the comp, but then after that, it's pretty internal. It's a lot of, like, visualizing the events that are going to happen tomorrow, walking through the workouts and the rep schemes and what I'm going to feel like when I'm going to break, certain things like that.
Is that new? Or have you always done that? That's new.
It's more intentional now and more thorough.
Okay.
I
can just imagine you both sitting on like opposite sides of the bed, facing different walls, and you just sitting in silence, just being like, should have snatched that one faster.
No, I don't externalize it much. See, I kind of go through that for a little bit, but then after that, try to kind of take my mind off things, eat dinner, talk to Ali for a little bit, and then I was watching the John Wick series while I was in Cookville for the week. So I watched that for a little bit until it was time to go to bed. But then that's when it starts to get kind of hard when you have no more distractions. And so I sat there in bed for probably an hour and a half, just thinking about all the events that happened that day. And I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have gone that no rep. I would have won event 1. Maybe I could have pushed a squat sooner. Maybe I would have gotten no rep. Maybe I should have ran harder in the earlier rounds, whatever. Maybe I should have brought chalk with me on Isabel so I didn't get sweaty hands, but I didn't want to take the time to run back to the start and grab chalk. And you're just thinking about everything over and over and over again. So that's really the time where it's the most difficult, because you have such a big adrenaline dumps throughout the day, and then you're just kind of replaying everything in your head. And you're trying to go to sleep.
What time did you go to sleep at?
I was in bed by around 10, but I probably didn't fall asleep till after 11.
Yeah, okay. That's a long... Those hours tend to feel like multiple hours as well. Did you, like, say Saturday night, you know that there's only one more day coming, you know that there's 4 likely, maybe 5, but probably 4 events coming. Are you confident, like panicked? Are you thinking, because you're obviously, the 2 things there you've said have been negative, of I should have done this, I should have done that. So are you thinking, have I done enough? Have I maximized what I could do? Have I put myself in a dangerous position? You know, because like, it must be hard when you do, say, after that first event, not to look at the leaderboard and think, oh, okay, well, I mean, those guys fucked up and I beat them, so they would have been expected to beat me in that workout, so I'm in a better position than I thought I would be by now.
That's the kind of chatter that I think it's best to minimize. You can be up all night thinking about different scenarios of, oh damn, maybe I needed those 5 points because at the end of the weekend, you know, how many people do I think can beat me on this workout? How do I think this guy's going to do on this one? Different things like that. And that's something that got into my head a lot in previous years, but I've done a better job at, you know, when things like that come up, to not analyze them too much in the moment, wait till after the comp. Try and focus, I guess, more on specific things like how was my effort level, my pacing, my execution, things that are more within my control. Because you know, a lot of benefit has come mentally and emotionally from shifting my mindset to not focus so much on the things that I can't control, which you know, it's a difficult thing to do. Like, you can tell yourself, like, you know, don't worry about this, don't worry about that, because you can't control it. So, you know, what's the point? Focus on what you can control. But it's kind of like somebody walks into a CrossFit gym and you've got, you know, it's this amazing Olympic weightlifting coach, and they show them, hey, here's how you do a snatch. Here's this cue. Here's what you got to do with your hook grip. Here's how wide you put your hands. Here's when you extend, blah, blah, blah. And you can explain to them everything that they need to do in detail, but then they go and try and do it. It doesn't mean that they can do it. So it's I think shifting your mindset is similar in that you can know how you should think and how you should feel about things, but then it takes a lot of practice and effort and time before they start to really sink in.
Yeah. I saw in the Hitter put up I don't know, was it in the Mayhem behind the scenes maybe? Hitter put it up anyway as a story, I think, about Jason. Jason's trash talk is so shit. Like his banter is fucking terrible. But he was like, "Oh, why?" He goes, "Why have you got me blocked?" You answered him. You said, like, "I just find you unbearable." Like you answered him outright. And then he still was like, "Tell me, man. Tell us why. Tell us." It's like, he fucking told you he finds you unbearable. You've got your answer. But I heard him saying, "Oh, that he could come out to you and, you know, live a day of your life, basically." Is that actually likely to happen?
No, probably not. I don't think so. You can come the week before the games and don't bring any cameras.
Wow. Okay. That sounds like
if you just want to hang out and see what it's like.
You're going to reenact Deliverance with him or something. Don't bring any cameras. There's some fucking great comments here. Do you have Brian Fan blocked on Instagram?
No, I follow him.
It's weird because he tagged. I thought you must have had him blocked because he tagged. He did his like 5 things from his car, and he tagged 4. You were the third one, I think, and he tagged the 2 ahead of you and the 2 after you, but yours was just Colten. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting that he didn't tag." I thought maybe he couldn't.
Probably something with my who's allowed to tag me or something. I don't know, but
what do you think of his assertion that there was too much squatting?
Well, the way he lays it out, I don't think is done in good faith, or it's a bit. Some of the things he said are kind of manipulative. Like just stating the number of squats that you do is not a good litmus test for whether it's too much or not. And it requires more nuance because let's say you program Murph for a competition that's 300 squats. Is that too much already? All you did was 300 air squats. So, and he also mentioned Isabel. He said 20 to 30 squats. There's several athletes who didn't do a single squat in that workout.
Yeah.
For example, I think I did 10 squats. So for him to kind of say, put in 20 to 30 squats there. Then also kind of the straw man argument with Adrian Conway of saying, "Oh, well, apparently thrust or lunges are squats, so we got to." But it's like, okay, well, do you believe that? Is that the argument you're making, or are you just kind of using this to try and, for the sake of the point you're trying to make? If I think you look at it with a little more nuance, Isabel, some athletes didn't squat at all. The squat was not a limiter in that workout. Nobody was looking at the bar and thinking, I got better rest a couple more seconds because I can't squat this. And then you can look at the thrusters and legless rope climbs. We had 27, 21, 15, 9 squats at 55 and 40 pounds with the dumbbells. It was not a squat limited workout. So we did squats, but it wasn't like, damn, those freaking lunges really got me. It's a legless rope climb limiting workout.
Yeah.
And then the first event, we had running, burpee box get-overs, and sandbag squats. So we had 120 reps at 170 pounds for the men and women. So those were squats in there, and they did matter, but you spent the majority of that workout on the run, and you spent the second most time getting over the box. And then the squats took the least amount of time for the majority of the field. So I think
if people hadn't used the squat, a lot of people use the squats in workout 1 as an excuse or as a reason for workout 2, for like not performing well at workout 2. Like I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, my legs weren't recovered," or "I couldn't get my legs right," or whatever. So I think if that hadn't been said, I think he probably wouldn't have said anything. But because that was an opening to say, "Oh, but now we have too much." And if you're going to call people out for not having enough, you have to call people out for having too much. But also to leave a back out. It's important that you leave a back door and say, whoa, I wasn't actually saying that is wrong or right. I was just, he's saying, hey guys, come over here and look at this. Like, you have to leave yourself a back outable, that's the whole thing. That's what you have to get good at, I think.
Yeah, go right up to the line of saying something, but I didn't say exactly those words.
Yeah. I didn't actually say it.
Hey, Savon, your nose is that's really a big thing to look at. And those glasses, just like, they're not doing it for me. And man, like, you need to get a haircut. But I didn't say that you don't look good. I didn't say that.
Savon catching strays, lovely. Yeah, you have to leave the back door open. You have to be able to just like, quietly walk out backwards, and then say, "Why is everyone so mean? Like, guys, just." I'm just trying to promote the athletes. You have to leave yourself an exit. All right, let's go through. Right, I'm assuming you're not going to say you were happy with any workout. You strike me as the type that would say like satisfied. Would that be a better word for me to use, or choice of word? So, were you satisfied with event 1?
Aside from I committed a no rep on the box sit overs, it cost me a good little chunk of time, however long it takes to do one of those reps, maybe 5 seconds.
What was that for?
Other than that, my butt touched the box when I was sliding over on, I think, my 3rd rep. So then I had to...
as in you turned too far getting over it, basically.
Yeah, okay. So I jumped up and put my knee on, and then as I was rotating over, my hip or butt touched the box.
Okay, yeah. And then, okay. So that, you felt that cost you the event, basically?
I mean, possibly. Like, I could have, maybe if I was a little bit faster.
That's those permutations it's not worth thinking about, though, right?
I mean, I'll be thinking about it for a while now, but the competition's over. But
what about event 2? Satisfied?
Event 2 went well. It went about how I expected it to go. I knew there's a lot of really strong guys in the field. Rosema, Nick Matthew, Guy, obviously, and there's a lot of other guys who are, big guys, good at moving a heavy barbell. So it was like, I don't know, I could be top 3 or I could be, 6th or 7th, depending on how this goes. And missed reps are costly there. But
as you practiced that?
I went well. We mostly did a lot of intervals. A lot of like
you're an interval guy pre-comp, right? You don't actually do the actual event.
Yeah, we didn't test any of these workouts all the way through.
He's chuffed. Thanks for working me into a simile. Don't think that's a simile, is it?
I'm a math guy, not English.
Simile is where you say like or as. Metaphor is where you don't. I think it was a hypothetical. Or maybe a parallel. Maybe it is a simile because he said it would be like. Yeah, maybe it is a simile. Wow, DIY, English literature. Where else would you get it? And how aware are you in that event? Because Isabella's, I guess regular Isabella is pretty quick, comparative to for you, comparative to heavy Isabel. In heavy Isabel, there's more time to, you kind of have to take a couple of seconds or at least a second. A lot of you guys are kind of stepping back, stepping forward. You're kind of giving yourself a beat. How aware are you when you're doing that, or is that an event that you can race other people, or like a no rep, you're fucked basically if you get a no rep there, because unless you can recover really quick and do another one straight away, you've lost enough time that 2 or 3 guys will pass you. So at any point are you racing people, or do you have a specific point in the event where you're like, okay, now I'll look left and right and see what's happening?
It's more listening to the announcers. I think it was Nick, Austin, and me who were top 3 in that heat for most of the event. So every once in a while, their announcer would give us like Nick is at rep 20 or whatever. Austin just finished up 15. So I use that a lot. I don't do as much looking around. But the game plan was just kind of like the first 10 to 20 need to be smooth, and then if you want to pick it up from there, that's where you're gonna kind of do work. You don't want to, like, I think for the most part on that event, the people who started to off to an early lead pretty much all kept it for the whole event, so it was hard to make up a lot of time on the final 5 to 10 reps. But I think strategy-wise, it's best to save your best 10 reps for your final 10 rather than your first 10. So I tried to pick it up a little bit at the 20 rep mark and 25 rep mark to try and catch Nick, but he didn't slow down at all, and I wasn't able to speed up enough to catch him. So I mean, that went about as good as it could have gone.
Were you tempted at any point to just do a touch and go just for fun?
My hands were getting really sweaty, and I didn't bring any chalk with me up the floor. So like the only piece of chalk was way back at the start line. And I knew like if I run all the way back, grab chalk, and then come back over here, that's the time it takes me to do one rep. It's just not gonna be worth it. But
I did think I was like, man, if someone comes out right out the blocks and does touch and go, just on the first two, just to freak people out around them. It was disappointing that nobody did that. Right, what was event 3 then? That was was that 27, that one?
Yeah, thrusters rope climb.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now that one, I'm guessing you weren't satisfied with that one, because it looked like you paced it really well, and then Austin just kind of nipped in right at the end. He's just able to go a bit quicker on the last rep.
Yeah, I mean, for me, execution was really good on that one. I was just at the limit of my capacity to be able to hold off the attack from Austin at the end. But like going into that weekend, I knew that I've gotten a lot better at legless rope climbs. But it's one thing to see improvement in the gym, and it's another to execute it on the competition floor. I was texting John Young beforehand, and I told him, like, I'll probably do better on the legless than people will think. And he goes, top 5? And I didn't answer him because like I was confident that I'd gotten better, but I didn't want to be like I was worried about looking silly if I ended up getting 7th or something like that if I said I was going to be top 5. But that was an event where I wasn't really necessarily sure what to expect. I thought I could be top 3 or I could be 7th or 8th, depending on how much better I've gotten. It'll just come down to the improvements on the rope climbs, and it ended up getting really grippy. That was definitely the limiter there for me. The rounds of 5 and 4 on the rope felt really good, and then on the round of 3, I started to feel my grip a lot. And the round of 2 was really close to failing, so I had to take the extra 5 or 8 second break or whatever it was, and chalk up before going up for that second one. Otherwise, I think I definitely would have failed. I had like the claw arm going on where I couldn't open my hands all the way.
It wouldn't have made. Am I right in saying it wouldn't have made any difference had you broken up the thrusters? Because your last set looked the same as your first set.
Yeah, the thrusters felt good. They weren't. They didn't affect the rope climbs nearly as much as I thought they would. And Joey was telling me that beforehand from watching the women's heats go, and he had some other athletes test that workout and tell him that like you think the first thruster is going to be first rope climb is going to be really hard because you just did thrusters, but it's a lot easier than you think. And yeah, that was true. The thrusters didn't affect him as much as I thought.
Okay, where are we now? 4. What's 4?
GHD.
Yeah.
Lunge.
How'd you feel that one?
That one sucked. That one's hard. That one I think was probably the only workout of the weekend where probably each movement favored a taller athlete. So there wasn't any room like for the thrusters and legless rope climbs. Thrusters favor the shorter, rope climbs favor the taller. And then like event 1, you got burpees and squats compared with running and box get overs. But this event was GHDs. It's beneficial to be taller. You don't have to reach as much or open your hips as much.
And then stride length on the other 2 movements, I guess.
Yeah, so it's just like for me to get better at that, I need to have exceptional shoulder endurance to keep up with the bigger athletes on the handstand walk and the overhead.
Or longer arms and legs.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen for me. So
maybe.
I mean, similar with the rope climbs, like I just need to get to the point where I'm so much better at that muscle stamina.
Is that a workout that you can't take a risk in then? Like when you see those movements that you're like, okay, and not damage control necessarily, but like that you can't push the envelope as much as you would with, say, the now the thrusters and rope climb one, you're kind of like, all right, let's see what's here. Whereas the other one, you're like, okay, keep something in reserve in case.
I feel like for both those workouts, I was right on the edge of my capacity. As far as pacing goes, there's some handstand walks where like I do the first 25 feet, and in my head I'm like, I could probably go the full 50 here. Then I'll come down and play it safe, and then I get back up for the next 25. I'm like, oh shit, it's a good thing I came down because this is I might fail before I get there. But I feel like I pretty much held my own on the GHDs. Didn't really make up any time, but didn't lose any significant time compared to most of the field.
Yeah.
And then they just lunged faster than me and took less breaks on their handstand walks. Their handstand walks are probably faster as well.
After that event, then, are you thinking, okay, one event to go, I know what it is. I've been like living on an Echo bike. I'm good with this. This is fine. Or are you thinking, not again? Like, I don't want to be 1 point out or 1 point in. I just want to be in or I want to be out.
Yeah, I was pissed off because I was like, man, I could have been in a really good spot right now if I didn't do shitty on that workout. And it was a lot like last year, where it's like, okay, we got Echo bike and we got some muscle ups. I knew I'd gotten a lot better at the bike. That's been one of my probably the main focus in training since semifinals. And I was kind of going through my head, like, there's a lot of big guys in that field, like Roman, Jason Hopper, Luke Parker, Jack Farlow, and a lot of other guys who could really hammer that bike. So I was kind of going through my head, like, okay, I know I need, if Jason wins, I have to get 7th to qualify. If Roman or James win, I have to get 8th to qualify. Because those are the kind of the 3 guys everybody was expecting, like, could definitely win that workout. Then I was trying to think about, like, okay, who are there 6 guys that can beat me in this workout? And I was kind of going through the list in my head. But then, like, you're getting ready to step on the floor, and Joey talked to me about it. He's like, you just have to trust your training. You're not the same athlete as last year. You're a lot better at the bike, so now you have to go prove it. And the game plan for the first bike was to kind of sprint the first 10 seconds or so, and then settle in to like a controlled fast pace. And then the bar muscle-ups were a really big unknown on what they were going to feel like after a 30 cal bike sprint, and also after the fatigue from that weekend. Because we did press a lot. I pressed on the burpee, pressed on boxed it over, pressed on the thruster, pressed on the bar muscle-up, pressed on the handstand walk, pressed on the overhead. Maybe we did too much pressing. I don't know.
You should make a video about it from your car.
Yeah. If you just count everything that you extend your arms as a press.
Well, lunges are a press of sorts. So Roman obviously was just like fucking gone. Who were you racing then? Who were you just focusing solely on yourself, or was there someone that you were just trying to stay ahead of, or someone you were just trying to stay behind during the actual event?
So during the event, it got going so fast that really Roman was the only person I knew where he was at, him and Austin, because Austin was in the lane next to me. So I could hear the announcer say Roman was down the bike when I was at like 15 cals. I was like, oh, fuck. I guess that's what he's doing. And then I think I got off the bike before Austin, and I was like, all right, I need to stay ahead of him on these muscle ups because he's already beat me 3 times this weekend. I don't want him to take it 4-1. But then I was just kind of, once I got through the bar muscle ups and I got to the bike, I was trying to listen to see when other people were getting off the muscle ups and when they were getting off the bike. And I started thinking, like, as I got deeper into the calories, and there weren't many people down the bike yet. I think James and Guy beat me in that heat, as well as Roman. But then other than that, I think I was ahead of everybody else and just barely squeaked in front of a couple guys from the previous heat, Jack Farlow and Luke Parker. And at that point, I was pretty confident that I had done enough.
Did you check, or did Joey give you like a thumbs up or anything, or did you just wait?
Yeah, he gave me a thumbs up.
Yeah, that's the worst. And I remember
you can always kind of tell. Like the first 3 years I qualified, when it was pretty close, I knew that I made it, and then last year I knew I didn't. And then even at Crash, when Austin beat me in 2023, I think,
Yeah.
When it came down to that final event, the P score, you just have a feeling like I knew he had beat me on that before it got announced. So like this one too. Once I finished the workout, I just kind of knew.
I remember that year at Crash, and I asked Tyler Watkins, who fucking invented the scoring system and was doing the scoring, did Colten do enough? And he said, yeah, he's good. He won it. And then 2 minutes later, it was like Austin Hatfield. I was like, what the fuck happened? Yeah, okay. So that what does the rest of your season look like now then? Because obviously you had you're registered for NorCal. You know, there's a lot on the table for a lot of different events. You've got history at NorCal. You've qualified for the World Fitness Project. Are you, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to do everything you initially planned? Are you going to alter? Are you going to change? Are you going to get rid of some and keep others?
Don't think I'm going to change much. So I'm going to go to Proven for the online semis still, and
to give someone else a push, or just see where you are, or what?
Yeah, I'll probably do the workouts first to give the crew just some times to beat and some feedback that weekend, and then the week after that is Indianapolis WFP, so I'll go there, and then yes sir, and the week after that is TFX. So I'm not sure if I'll go there or not, because then I think like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks after that is NorCal, which I'm planning on going to. So I don't know if I'll be able to make all those work. And then there's the other WFP event in there sometime.
That's like
I'm planning on doing that.
I think.
It might be August. Is it August or is it July?
I don't know. PC's in the comments. He'll know. And what about Syndicate? No.
Syndicate.
But you can't actually compete at that though, can you?
Yeah, I can't compete.
In the wrong.
I want to go and hang out with Troy from Valor Fit and hang out with the Savon crew. You're gonna be there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to go, but I don't know. Joey and I are gonna have a meeting later this week and get everything planned out. But I imagine they're not gonna want me to go and dilly-dally over there. But I think it's the week before NorCal as well.
Yeah, fair. I was gonna say you could. It's the week after NorCal.
Maybe.
I think it's the week after, or 2 weeks after, or the week after. I'm not sure. You could go to. I'm not sure if TFX will let Colten compete since he has already qualified. That seems, unusual.
I'm not sure. I don't know if they've said anything concrete about whether they will or not. I know Syndicate has that rule, but I haven't heard if TFX is also following that. I think it might be harder for them to do that since they're closer to online semis, and that'll determine a lot if they use that rule.
Syndicate, yeah. Savon says, Colten, we got a house at NorCal. Are you staying with us? We'd love that.
Yeah, I'm staying with you guys. Is Peter going to be there? Are you staying with us?
I'm not going to NorCal. I could pick one. They were too close. If they were further away, I'd go to both. If I had planned effectively, I would have gone to Mayhem.
I think I got confused and thought you said NorCal and you said you were on a Syndicate.
No, Syndicate. Although I'd say Savon would gladly give you my bed at Syndicate. How far away are you from those places, from Nashville and Cookeville and all that?
Nashville, I'm about 7.5. Cookeville's another hour. So it's not too bad to drive. I don't mind.
Fuck that. If I drove 7 hours from here, I'd be in France.
Yeah, you Europeans are different. You guys are close together.
You know I can see this, right? Okay, so you're going to NorCal, probably, most likely.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Potentially TFX, depending on what that ruling is, I guess. And then World Fitness Project. What inspired you to do the qualifiers for that, for World Fitness Project? I kind of thought when you weren't invited that you'd be like, fuck those guys.
I was like, fuck those guys. But we're like, fuck you, I want to come beat all these dorks you guys have on your team. So yeah, that's why I'm going, so I can beat them and take one of their contracts.
And then decline it. Has there been a change in the athletes, say so like those athletes that have signed World Fitness projects might be they wouldn't be forgiven for it, but they might be considering themselves professional athletes now because they've got a salary essentially from World Fitness Project. Are they like, are their dicks swinging a bit lower? Are their chest puffed up a bit more than they have been in the past? Are they like, oh, have you got a contract? No, get the fuck out of my way. Has there been any changes?
There's some athletes. I think the majority have not gotten arrogant about it or anything. For sure, there's some. But I think more of it is. I'd be worried that some of them might get complacent if their earnings are no longer tied to their performance.
Well, you're not worried. They should be worried.
Yeah, and I'm not worried. But somebody cheering for them might be, or who has interest in them doing well. But yeah, if you want to make your career as being just good enough to qualify and keep your contract and focus on social media and influencing, I think it's going to be difficult for them to motivate themselves to push really hard, because like if you're an athlete making a decent living from sponsors and you're going to get a chunk of change from the World Fitness Project, not everybody's going to want to train really fucking hard to try and get to that next level to be podium at the games or try and win the games. It's a lot of work, and they might not get any return from it if they don't make that jump in performance. I think that's kind of Guy's mindset. He knows it's a lot of work for him to get into that next level at the games, and he can, instead of doing that and possibly working really hard and not getting anything extra from it, if he just goes and gets 10th again, which is still great, but that's what he's already gotten. I think he believes he can train less hard and live less of a professional lifestyle, and then stay in WFP. He's probably going to be good enough to easily retain his contract for probably about as long as he wants to without having to train really hard.
Didn't he put up a video saying that it's expensive going to Copasur or something? Or it's like, didn't he do a live? He's like out and like on a walk or something. He's like, oh, it's very expensive going down to Copasur and blah, blah. I swear I've seen him flying first class.
I mean,
I'm like,
he makes a lot of money. He makes a lot of money. It'd be a very minor inconvenience for him to pay for that. That's just, he just doesn't want to do it.
What's a lot?
I mean, well into the six figures. I'm not talking 110,000 a year. It's probably way more than that. I would say, and it's probably a few thousand to go to Copasur and compete, but I think that's a small drop in the bucket for him. And
I think a lot of people as well, like you talk about that complacency, there's going to be a lot of what Danielle and Brooke did. Like there's going to be a lot of people saying, do I really want to? That's why, okay, I remember I said to Sprague I think was it at Wadapalooza, it was confirmed he was going to Mayhem. And I remember saying to him that I was impressed that he had just immediately said, yeah, I'm going to do Mayhem, because it would have been easy for him to say, a lot of people are doubting me, maybe I should just go online. One or two guys will be out of the way from Mayhem. I won't have to compete. That's two less people I have to compete with. It's more secure. I'm in my own environment, whatever. So I remember thinking like, I'm actually pretty impressed that he did it and said he was doing it straight away. But now you have, especially because World Fitness Project is the same weekend. Like, have you seen the leaderboard for French Throwdown? It's like a who's who of who the fuck is that? Like you're going down through the list and you're recognizing like 7 or 8 names. Because people are saying, well, I'm going to do World Fitness Project, or I'm going to do the qualifier. And if I qualify, I'm going to do that instead of French. And I think it's going to be more and more of that. I think after the online semifinals, a hell of a lot of people are going to pull out of competitions that they've already registered for or signed up for, saying like, I'm already competing too much.
Yeah, no, it's going to be rough. I think like hopefully it doesn't happen, but I think NorCal might just be a freaking wasteland of, everybody who said they were coming is pulling out. Everybody wanted to kind of reserve their spot in case they needed it, but if they don't need it, they're not going to come, which is unfortunate, but also like so that's what some athletes are going to have to do if they feel the workload is too much. Maybe they've already gone to 1 or 2 semifinals before that. They go into the WFP events, and just add another one on top of that. It's going to be difficult. But maybe next year with a little more time to plan, they'll move the online qualifier to a different part of the season, and maybe people will be able to plan it out a little differently. But we'll see. It'll be interesting on the online qualifier. Like we have a lot of names who we think are probably going to make it. We're really good and are probably top 10 worldwide, but it's like crazy shit happens on online qualifiers, and
doesn't it?
Like all it's going to take is a handful of people you didn't expect to get in, a handful of people that you thought were shoo-ins to be out, and then you end up at a semifinal. It was like, oh shit, we thought 5 of these guys who are here, we thought we're going to the games, and there's only 2 spots, and this is the last chance. So we'll see. It'll be crazy.
Yeah, there's that. Isn't there a last chance qualifier, like a hustle up last chance qualifier after something, whatever the last one is? NorCal is the last one, I think, isn't it? So the week after that, that's going to be a fucking dogfight. They should do that in person. They should bring them all out to the ranch.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And just be like, right, it's 6 workouts today. Who wants it bad enough?
I wonder how you even qualify for that.
Isn't it like, so who finished 3rd at Mayhem? Roman. So Roman will qualify if he doesn't get his ticket elsewhere.
So it's just next person out?
I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure. It might be more from the online semifinal. Actually, that's actually just, honestly, that's a total guess. I just made all that up. It's a guess. But it sounds logical that it would be the one extra person. Yeah, because the events aren't the same, so it'd be hard to pick, wouldn't it? It'd be hard to do anything else other than just like whoever finished in 3rd place at all the events. Yeah, either they pull out or burn out, says Munweiler. Munweiler doubted you a lot on the Mayhem prediction show. He was like, nah.
I know, I watched it.
He said you were bad at snatching at one point.
Yeah, Adrian, what the fuck, dude? I set the world record on the snatch ladder last year.
I tried to push back, and then he's like, but it's an ugly snatch. And I was like, it fucking doesn't matter what he did. He did it. Yeah. He wasn't having it. There you go. World Fitness Project Event 2 qualifier July 2nd to 8th. That's like 2 weeks before the games, is it? Oh, just confirm Colten can compete at TFX. Fuck, spin is crazy fast. That's nuts. That was like 9:23. That was 8 minutes ago as well. Man, he's crazy fast. Is Colten trying to make a baby? Not currently, but are you planning on having kids?
Not anytime soon, but yeah, someday.
Do you think, will you just mimic your dad's fathering? Do you think that you'll just parent your kid the way you were parented? Will you be like, right, baby's like not even crawling, you're like, get your boots on?
There's certainly a lot of things that he did I think were really beneficial for my brother and I. I'd like to try and replicate, but I'm sure there'll be some differences as well.
A softer approach?
It's hard to guess. I don't know. I'm not as nice as you might think. My dad and my brother are actually a lot nicer than me.
Mundweiler says, relax. I knew you needed something to get fired up. You can send me 50% of the price of me. Okay, wow, that's interesting. So NorCal, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. And like you say, the complacency, it's not even just complacency with effort in training or application to training. It'll be complacency with being one of the haves instead of the have-nots and thinking like, well, fuck it, I don't need NorCal. Like, fuck those guys. It's in my better interest to not do that event and to do this other thing instead. But then they don't have their contract next year, or they do need something, or they get a reputation of well, he always quits, or she always backs out last minute, or he always does this. It is tricky. And I empathize with it to a certain point, because you have to look after you. Like, so say if it comes to NorCal and you have a niggle with your knee, you're not going to risk your whole season when you've already qualified. You're probably going to say, maybe I won't do it, because, I'm sure you would if you could. Maybe you're a bad example for this, but like if someone had a bad back, they're not going to jeopardize, if they already have a games ticket, jeopardize that for an event that they don't need to do. But I just do think that it's a dangerous precedent to set. And I also heard about agents saying, niggle, I need to enunciate. I also heard agents going to different events and saying, hey, my athlete is doing syndicate, but can you keep them a spot at NorCal just in case? Or, hey, my athlete is doing whatever, but can you, like, we're still good for syndicate, right? Like, they're doing mayhem, but we're still good for syndicate though, right? Like, you're their plan B, which is fucked up too, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you want to be a professional, and it's be a good idea to make sure you have a spot at NorCal, do the fucking qualifier, and make sure that you have an opportunity. I think they should say fuck all those guys, not give them invites.
It would definitely be more interesting for, from the outside looking in.
But if you're a professional, make sure that you have the opportunity. Do the qualifier and don't leave it up to chance.
Yeah, I think that's the complacency though, isn't it? Like, or the entitlement, or the, that's the,
yeah.
Well, I'm a professional athlete. I don't need to, I'm used to getting favors, and I'm used to, you want me to pay registration? What? Or was it Hopper was saying that he signed up for Mayhem and couldn't believe that there's no charge. He was like, whoa, this is weird.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, nice, I think, I don't know. I think what happens is a lot of people get, mollycoddled by their agents, and, protected, like overprotected, and everything's handed to them and done for them. And don't worry, I'll take care of that. And, we'll get you that stuff. And hey, don't put your hand in your pocket. We'll get you, we'll get a meal company to give you meals when you're traveling. And we'll get you a suitcase company to give you suitcases. And we'll get you a car company to give you a car. And it goes on. And then the athlete's just like, why am I doing this? Why is there not somebody else doing this? Why am I typing my email into this registration for a comp? Why is someone like, can we not get one of the minions to do it? Like, why am I doing it? It's a slippery slope. Spoiled, basically. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Spoiled. What's your plan then for say post semi-final season? So you're going to Nashville to set scores for Tia to beat, and Caroline and everyone else, and then you're going to NorCal and World Fitness Project in between. And then is everything going to be at home? Are you going to visit anyone? Are you going to travel to Nashville? Like, what are you going to do?
We'll see how things go at the farm. I'd like to be in Nashville a little more for games prep. That'd be awesome. But
is the farm quiet in the summer or worse?
It's been different year to year based on what my dad and uncle have had going on. They used to like spray a lot more crops than they do now. I think, but now they have more land that they rent, so it's just kind of different all the time. But usually, spring's pretty busy while we plant, and then fall is by far the busiest time of year. But summer isn't as terrible. Typically, like before the 23 games, my dad gave me 3 weeks off to just train. So I didn't have to do anything except train for the 3 weeks before the 23 games. But we're just gonna see what's going on.
And when you came back from that, was he like, I gave you 3 weeks off and you didn't win? What the fuck? you were my cash cow.
Yeah. Every single day, because I had the time, I went to the pool in the morning and swam. This is when I was still doing my own programming. I swam every day. I was like, yeah, I'm getting kind of good at swimming now. And then we didn't swim that year.
What a waste. Well, so you harvest in the fall then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like what? Like barley or what?
Corn and soybeans for the most part. And then we haul manure from the pig pens, and we also haul for other people's farms. So we haul it up in a big, gets pumped into a big, like 7,000 gallon tank, and then pulled by a tractor. And it gets integrated into the ground after the crop's been harvested to put nutrients back in the
Integrated.
soil. Yeah.
Is that like a spreader that flicks it out, or does it spray out of a hose at the back?
Neither. It's got a knife, and it puts it into the ground, and then a blade comes from behind that disc and covers it back up. So it just puts it in little rows underneath the ground.
Wow, we are so primitive. We literally spray shit.
Yeah.
Like if it's liquid shit,
it
gets there's this like iron disc, and it comes out and just goes and like sprays up into it. It looks like a swarm of bees following behind a tractor. And then we have like, if it's thicker shit, it's like a muck spreader. It's like chains on a pole that spins out and just flicks shit all over the place.
The neighbors do that here for their cattle, and you can definitely tell when they do it. Smell it over at us. It close up the windows.
It's fucking crazy. So then, is there no smell then when you do it because it's buried immediately?
There's if you're like down the road, you can smell it for sure, but it doesn't last that long. Like the next day, you usually can't smell.
Yeah, I know. Like when I was growing up, I used to wonder, is the smell my dad, or like they just became synonymous with each other. The smell of like cow shit, and then my dad. And I was just like, is this just you? Do you just smell like this? If you were an accountant, would you smell the same way, or is this because of your job? Then he'd shower. Okay, so what about, have you got a training partner parallel to you? Like, have you got someone else? Because does Joey work with Caroline now too?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you and Emma Tall?
Yep.
So are you guys like doing similar stuff, comparing scores? Are you in like a chat together? How does that work?
No, it's like we don't have access to any of each other's scores or anything like that. I think Caroline and I do some similar stuff just because we're similar builds and have some of the same strengths and weaknesses. But other than some overlap there, it's completely different from what we all do. Proven has their template that is then modified typically for their athletes to adjust for strengths and weaknesses. But like for me, just because I'm very short, a lot of my programming has nothing to do with the template, and it's just based really on my weaknesses and strengths.
Like
so Joey has to work extra hard for
activity. How is the 20% tariff on you going to affect your travel? It's not on me. I'm not being tariffed. I'm not an export. We've been advised not to travel to America. No, we haven't. Like, we have not been advised not to travel to America. Definitely not that I've seen, but that's a common story that you'll see. I've seen it 4 times now of Ireland has been added to the list of countries whose citizens have been advised not to travel to America. It's like, well, I wasn't at that meeting because nobody told me, so I don't fucking think that's true. I don't think it's going to make any difference. I mean, it's going to affect our economy, but I don't think it's... But I tell you what, Trump is like, he's fucking clever, because already now on the news here, it's like, so 2 days ago, it was like 20% tariffs on the EU. And then today it was like, I can't remember what he said, but more or less, well, listen, if countries want to negotiate. So he's just basically pushed them into a corner and then said, like, well, give us something and we'll let you back out of the corner or stay in the corner. Like, that's your choice. It's kind of fun to watch because I'm not reliant on the economy as such.
He's got a playbook for sure.
Does Joey only train unusual athletes? Like, did he ask for, all right, I want those 3? Like, how did you end up working with him? Also, just before you answer that, sorry, I just want to say, I'm not going to be able to find the comment, but JR said way back, he said it was, I'm not going to try and directly quote it, but it was basically like, Joey cared so much, and it was obviously cared so much, and he was so invested from looking at him at Mayhem. And I felt the same at Wadapalooza. He was working with Emma Tall, and up until she did something to her shoulder, I think, but she was doing really well up until that point. But it was remarkable how much, I think he had only just met her maybe, and he'd been kind of doing some stuff with her, but that was his first in-person thing with her. She had just, I think she hadn't even officially joined Proven at that stage, or maybe that weekend she did. But it was very interesting and compelling watching him get to know her while coaching her and helping her. Like the questions he was asking her and the questions he was asking Dave while she was doing a warm-up were so deep, like so out of place for what the scenario was, but he was just trying to find out as much information as possible about what type of person she is, what makes her tick, you know, like asking about like, how did you get started in CrossFit? Now I need you to do these bird dogs or whatever. And then, you know, he'd be talking to Dave saying like, you know, like what was it that first told her that she was going to, you know, it's just crazy to watch. But man, he is fucking intelligent. Like,
yeah.
really, really whip smart. Like he's up there with JR. He's up, like, it's crazy how smart he is. How did you start working with him?
Yeah, so as soon as I joined Proven, I was on a call with Nick Johnson, and he was, I don't know if Joey had officially joined him or not, but he was like, hey, we got Joey coming on board. I think you guys would fit well together. And I was like, sure. And yeah, we did. We worked together really great. And that's how we got on together. And then Caroline just recently, she's been with Proven for a little bit, but just recently started with Joey. I'm not sure how Amatal got with him, but yeah, like at Mayhem, so like the women, so like the competitions are all back to back heats once we get going. So he's like getting Caroline warmed up and taking her through everything. And then like they're about to go out to start the event, and he's coming over to me. He's like, hey, do this for this many minutes and then this, and then I'll be back at your event. And he's coaching me and taking me through my warm up, and then it's time to get Caroline ready again. And he I don't think he ate like actual food for like the whole 2 days that we were there. Yeah, but I don't think there's many other coaches like Joey.
Yeah, he seems like very on it, very just, and the thing about him is as well, he's not like, he's a nerd, but he's not an annoying nerd. Like, he's affable and charismatic and charming and stuff, and you can talk to him and joke with him and mess with him about stuff. And he's kind of stylish, and you know, he just seems kind of cool. He's not like, oh well, I think you'll find that the ambidextrous of the ligament in your what. He's like, shut the fuck up. Like, he's actually engaging to talk to about. That was my JR impression. No, it's not. What about Proven then? So when you go to Proven to Nashville, is there anything that strikes you about being there? Anything like, you know, being around Tia, is that surprising? Does she do things that you're like, oh fuck, I didn't think she'd do that, or wow, it's even more impressive than I thought, or oh, that's no big deal, or you know, Shane catches a lot of shit for like, oh, he's not a real coach. He's just like, anyone could have done that with Tia. Like, my dog could have trained Tia to win the games. What do you think of their dynamic or working with the two of them?
Yeah, so the first thing you notice about when you go to Proven is it's really fucking clean. Like they, after ourselves, like right away, somebody gets done with the workout, they go get the mop bucket, they're mopping up their chalk, their sweat, they did rope climbs, they got the backpack with a little vacuum on it, and they're vacuuming the floor.
Ghostbusters.
And yeah, everybody, all the elite level athletes that are there do that, and they're all held accountable by, you know, like, starts with Nick and Shane. They just have their leadership is just really strong, and they pass it down to everybody else who's there. And yeah, Shane, he's definitely is a coach. Like, I got to see him when I was there for the Open last year. I didn't see him this last week when I was there, but like, he's there and he's giving tips to people. He's helping me out with stuff. And I mean, all the coaches there are very collaborative, and they'll be like, you know, hey, I see your athlete has really gotten a lot better at this. What did you do to do that? Because I'm working on it with this person. And so they're sharing things like that. They're if you go there, any coach is willing to help you out. Kiefer was there, and he'll help out anybody who needs any advice or tips or anything. So it's all a very collaborative effort with the coaches, trying to help with each other's athletes or trying to like increase each other's education. and things like that. And yeah, it starts with Shane.
Razor said Shane was his first and last coach. And then he took his black book of 40-minute EMOMs. With Ricky joining Proven, were you like, oh, cool, or motherfucker?
No, I thought it was all right. I mean, I thought that was cool. I'm excited to see him, and there's going to be a lot of people over there for
Jay and Maddie are coming over too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so they're all going to be there for Infinity. So Ricky, Jay, Maddie, Caroline, Tia, who else?
I know there's several more.
I don't think Lucy's going over. She's not going over, I don't think, is she? Lucy McGonigal? I don't think.
Maybe. I can't
Maybe
remember.
she is.
Sure. Nick gave me the whole list, and it's a lot of people. They're going to be there. It's going to be packed. But it'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see Ricky and Jay, and hopefully give them some good scores to beat. But hopefully they won't be able to catch me on them. So we'll see. But it'll be interesting.
Imagine the protection Lab and O'Keefe would have acquired if they signed Colten. I don't really understand that. But what I will tell you is Colten wouldn't be on this podcast. Talk to me about Cale Lehman. What do you think of him?
Cale's a really good dude. Got to hang out with him. We did the Valor Fit games together this summer, and we won, of course. But
and you're on the same grid team now too, right?
Oh yeah, I kind of.
Are you not doing that anymore?
I think I am.
Okay.
I don't know. But
for one week.
Yeah, for one weekend. But yeah, Cale.
See how the other half lives. What were you surprised by his performance at Mayhem? Were you like it's a fucking deep field? But I mean, I guess a lot of people are surprised looking at, hey, this guy finished whatever 5th in the Open. He should be doing better.
Yeah. So Cale, I think I probably gonna get this wrong, but I think he's in like officer school or training or something right now.
Yeah, military something anyway. Yeah.
And so his schedule is pretty fucked. Like I was talking to him at Mayhem, he's like, yeah, during the Open, pretty much the workouts are the only real trainings I did. And then I don't know if he's really done any like actual training since then. He's just been so busy. And then he got to Mayhem Friday morning at 4 a.m. He drove straight from whatever training he was doing for officer school straight to Mayhem. Got there at 4 a.m. Then we had the briefing at like Friday afternoon. Then he competed, and then he drove back home Sunday night and had to be back for something at 3 a.m. Monday morning. So like you have to consider like he got an invite pretty late, maybe like 2 weeks ago. So it's not like he was prepping for Mayhem. He hasn't been, his volume of training has been really low. So I think after he did that first workout, he's probably pretty fucked for the rest of the weekend already right there. And he's I think he's shorter than me, so he had to and it's a good field. So when you got an event like with running and 48 watch get-overs, like he's kind of fucked. Like even if you're fitter than other people there, it's a lot to overcome.
Yeah.
So
do you think his scores are legit in the Open? Yeah.
I believe so. I don't.
You don't have any reason to doubt it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I was impressed with
his performance at Mayhem.
I was impressed with his ability to persist as well. Like, I think a lot of people would be like, fuck this. Like, at the last event or the second last event, just be like, fuck this. I'm behind again. I'm not really interested in doing it. Same with like Paige Powers. Like, I don't know how she persisted over the course of the weekend. I'd just be like, fuck this, I'm out. Like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, and he kept a good attitude, and he had a guy with him there, but I don't know if he was actually a coach or his coach at all. So he was kind of going in alone for a lot of those workouts. But yeah, he kept a good attitude. And I mean, I had similar experiences, not to that extent, but like for the Dubai championships in, I think it's 2018 or 19, I got like third on their online qualifier. Then I got, nearly dead last in every workout once I got there, because it was the programming was very different. So, I didn't cheat those scores. It was just things that programmed were different, and I wasn't as good as the rest of the field at those movements. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things to consider.
Yeah. Snorri, you're working with him now too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How's that going? Have you felt is that another load of shit that's taken off your plate, basically?
Yeah, it's been good. I really like working with Snorri. We get along well.
He's no nonsense. I really like that.
Mhm.
He's not going to tell you, yeah, no problem if there's a problem, or he's not going to say, yeah, that'll work if it doesn't work. He won't ghost. He won't like. I respect the fuck out of him because he'll just say, that's not going to happen, or I will make that happen, and it might take a few months, but he'll make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's very honest about like expectations and things like, hey, we're talking to this company. Here's what we should expect. This would be a good deal. This would be unacceptable or whatever. And then he's very honest, like, hey, they're offering this, and if anything that's way too low, so we're just gonna do something else. Or he doesn't sugarcoat anything to me. He doesn't try and like overstate my value of like, you should be getting this and this and everything for free, blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's been good working with him, and yeah, I think my performances in the Open and Mayhem have helped move things along a little bit too.
Are you you're not with Tier anymore, are you?
No.
Who are you with now?
Vindicate for clothing.
Wow.
And Valor Fit.
Excellent. Vindicate. Wow. So one of the first athletes to go to the CrossFit Games, a Vindicate athlete.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like Travis, like that's fucking nuts. I'm stoked for him. That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm doing a good job. We got a lot of, all my custom apparel is with him. And I like wearing all of his stuff. And he works with like Paper Coffee, makes their apparel.
Yeah, and Hiller, Sevon, Taylor,
yeah,
mine,
that's all shit
Jors. This
I've
is
been wearing
Vindicate,
for
yeah.
years, Yeah.
It's crazy.
So it's
That's so cool.
Very good relationship. I'm really happy with him.
Another guy who doesn't, doesn't waste anyone's time. Like just like, yeah, I'll make that work. No, that's not going to work. Yeah, that's possible. No, it's not possible. What about, and you signed with Black Label subs like just before Mayhem?
Yeah, like the day before, I think. Yeah, I've been trying their stuff out for a few weeks and made it official that weekend.
You should do like a line of like pork protein. Everyone's doing beef. You should do like pork protein.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some pigs out here for my house to raise for myself and maybe for a few other people. Been talking to
How
Troy.
far away are you from the actual farm?
Less than 10 minutes.
Okay. What's the holdup? You need a shed or something?
Yeah, so I need to move my wiener dog pen from the west side of my. I'm not shitting you. I move from the west side of my house to the east side. There's an old green shed over here that is part of their pen right now that I'm gonna use as part of my pig pen once I get them in. So I gotta get the wiener dogs moved over first, and then get their pen built. That'll take quite a while, and then I gotta get the pen for my pigs built, and then I think Troy Pierce and I found some pigs in Kansas that I want to get to raise. So we might go over there and pick them up sometime once I get all that done.
That's Troy from Valor Fit.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, yeah, because the pigs that you guys have are technically not your pigs. Is that accurate? You're like rearing them for a certain period of their life, basically, and then they move on.
Yep. So we raise them. We get paid to raise them, but we don't own the pigs, or we don't get paid like market price once they're sold.
Yeah.
So we're just we own the barns. Or my dad owns the barns. I don't own anything. I still work for him.
You corrected yourself before he corrects you tomorrow. Like, I heard you say you own something. You don't own shit. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. That's interesting. So then is that like bucking the trend? Have you guys ever owned pigs? Your own pigs, like?
Not in my lifetime. When my grandpa was farming and my dad was growing up, they owned everything, pigs, cows, chickens, and they did the whole wean to finish, birthing the pigs and everything. But then just the way the farm economy has moved, it's really, really difficult to do that now. It's starting to become easier as like direct to consumer farming is becoming more popular. But there's the major issue is just so much red tape to get into it. So many regulations that are really just there to make it difficult for the sake of being difficult to keep, big manufacturers.
Can you do like farm to fork, like small, like farmers market type shit, or is it really hard to make your own meat products like?
Yeah, with meat, you either have to, there's a loophole where basically you don't sell the meat, you sell the animal. You can sell the animal, and that's where you get people who say like, I bought a quarter of a cow, or I bought half a hog, or whatever. So technically you sell them that animal, and then they have ownership when it goes to the butcher.
Oh,
and that's kind of how you get around it. But if you want to sell, like if I wanted to sell you a pork chop or a steak or a ground beef, it's already been processed. It has to go through a USDA certified facility, and there's other regulations that I have to follow.
What is that like? Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, don't worry about it. Like, oops, I left this like pack of ground beef behind when I visited your house, and I accidentally picked up this like wad of cash.
I think you can get pretty fucked if you get caught doing that. Like it's hard to find a USDA certified facility, and like I would never be able to take my pigs to the Tyson plant because I don't have enough volume to get a contract with them or anything like that. So even like my uncle raises some cows, and I think what he does, he sells them to another farmer who's bigger, who does have enough cattle to take them to the Tyson plant and get them processed.
That's crazy. It's like here, so like there's a market that my mother-in-law goes to. Okay, this is what I was driving at. So there's a guy that has, what's it called? I can't remember. But he makes like sausages, like links, and like sausage patties. But his pigs are like free range, like almost free range, but they're in an orchard, so they eat apples like throughout their life basically. And then the pork doesn't taste like apple, but it definitely tastes different from like normal pork. But that's how he markets it. But he just does that himself at his house, like.
Yeah, that's similar to what I want to do, pasture raised pork. But I want to get the different breed of pigs. The meat's going to be different. What you feed them it's going to affect the taste and the texture of the meat.
I just remember the story, right? So I used to be friends with a guy, and his dad had a company delivering, like apple pie and like pre-wrapped fucking eclairs and that kind of shit, like donuts and that kind of stuff. So he'd get it in and then deliver it out to different stores. But they had these apple pies or apple tarts, and if they were gone off, he had these big bullocks at his house, like big bulls, and he'd feed them all the leftover apple tarts because they'd pack on weight, and then he'd sell them. So he had these apple tarts, and they had like mold on them. But he was like, "Oh, it's fine." So he gave it to them, and then went and did something. Came out, and they were all like dead. Like 6 of them, massive guys, were like dead. And he called the vet. The vet came out and was like, "No, they're like unconscious." He's like, "I don't understand what's happening." So they had overdosed on penicillin and like slipped into a coma because the penicillin was in the mold that was in the apple tarts or whatever. Yeah, pretty fucking crazy. But I was like, that's actually kind of genius studies. I mean, maybe it's animal cruelty, although I suppose the animals, I'm guessing the bulls are pretty happy being like, "Oh fuck, apple tart, nice."
Yeah.
Probably has some crazy dreams as well. Right, I didn't think we'd talk about.
Patrick had a comment. Do the Chinese own there's a local
China
company
owns most of US pig farms, 25%. Is that true?
They own a lot of the processing plants, probably more so than the actual farms. But it's Southeast our pork owns our pigs, so we feed for them, and there's several other farmers around us that also feed for them. So it's
Bernie's got your back with the wiener dog pen, you need to give them 30 days notice. Just they'll put on their little spectacles and type out a letter. to whom it may concern.
When we first moved over here from my dad's house, their pen here is way bigger, and they just like they didn't have as much area to explore and things to like dig into this. Like every time we bring them in for the final time in the evening, they're just pass out right away. And they still kind of do that, but it was kind of funny. Like they don't even play in the house anymore for the most part because they just get so exhausted out there.
That's cool, man. What sponsor will Colten entertain now?
We got some things in the works, but we'll see what happens.
You got some irons on the fire. Some pork on the fire. Do you eat pork?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes one of the best things to do for meal prep, you buy like a big pork loin, like a 10-pound loin, and then cut it into chops. Are they
like the long kind of fillets or whatever, is it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the big long thing. And you can trim off the fat and cut it into chops, and then it has a pretty similar macronutrient profile to like a chicken breast. And you just throw them in the fridge or put a bunch in the freezer and just cook up a quick chop every night for dinner. That's what I do once in a while.
Nice. All right. Thanks, Colten, for coming on, giving me so much of your time. Congrats on the weekend. It's fucking crazy I'm just so pumped for you. It's just so good that you have it just sealed up so quick, so early. It's just couldn't happen to a better guy. Someone asked, I don't remember who it was. Someone was like, how the fuck does Colten have 100,000 followers? And within minutes, you put up the video of you watching Hopper's reel with Hiller, going like, that's enough internet for today. And I was like, this is how he has. Your content is fantastic. Your effort. You just give so much. I think that's why we all love you so much, is you just give so much and you're so willing to do things for other people. And I've lost count of the amount of times that you did a debate for me last minute or did something and made a post about it or a reel about it. And like people generally, we talk about entitlement or whatever, but a lot of athletes and stuff, they just don't do that. They don't they'll do a show and they're like, I'm not posting about it, or they won't think to do it, or they won't. I just think you're fucking great, man. I'm really, really just stoked for you. You're gonna have such a good year.
I'll come on with you and Adrian sometime too and talk about events if you want. I like talking about stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. Maybe maybe one of the, well, you can't do NorCal or TFX. Maybe Syndicate or the online semifinals. Actually, that could be a good one. I think myself and Zane, who's actually, I think he's going to be approving too. Myself and Zane and Adrian are going to go through the Syndicate Crown paired workouts and team workouts to look for clues, because JR has programmed those and he's also programming Syndicate Crown, and it's a slow news week. So we're gonna go through those workouts to look for.
Leave me out of that one. I fucking hate guessing workouts.
Yeah, we're gonna look for clues in. But you can still sign up for that. Not you. You've enough going on. But there are spaces for the community event, the paired event, and it's a team of 4 and pairs. And you can still sign up for that for Syndicate Crown, and we'll all be there. And if you sign up for a Syndicate Crown community event, we'll say hello to you. And if you don't, I'm not going to bother. But yeah, thanks, Colten. Thanks for coming on. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Debate tomorrow. I haven't even fucking asked anyone to do it yet, but I'm sure I'll ask 3 people before tomorrow, and I'll think of 3 topics before tomorrow. What else? The spin is on tomorrow night, usual time. Savannah's on tomorrow morning, I'm guessing. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks, Colten.
Thanks, Peter.